Welcome to the Inner Mastery series. And in episode number 2, we're going to be looking more into experience over intellect. Now, in the previous episode, we looked more into the outer world and the inner world. That through the outer world, it really represented a world of imperfection. It represented the result, the effect, to where intellectualism, reigned, where we'd see the result of our manifestations and materialism, and that the inner world is the realm of perfection. It is the cause plane, and it is where everything exists. Where we look into the material plane, only a fraction pertaining to that inner plane exists within the outer plane, or the effect plane. But in this episode, we're going to look a little bit more into the nature of experience over intellect. So what does that mean? When we're looking at the essence of experience, what's so great about experience? Why not just have the aspect of assumption pertaining to intellect? Why not just let the intellect run the show? Why not let the intellect guide us through life? Well, let's take a look at that. Let's imagine that we are confronted with a problem, and that we may see, let's say, a dozen paths before us. I could do this, or I could do the other thing, or that thing, or etc., etc., etc. And basically having these branches of 12 paths before us. And the intellect will do what it can to understand what it has learned to try and pick this particular path that it feels it might be best. So you listen to the intellect, you start walking down path C, and 5 steps ahead, a trap door opens and you fall right through the trap door and into a bottomless pit. This is again what the intellect is. It's no more different than a crapshoot. It only understands what has taken place. It only is able to identify itself through states of memory. It can't be present. It can't be here. It can't be now. Therefore, it's useless when it comes to guidance. So whenever we're looking at the nature of intellect, we're only looking at memory. We're only looking at a data bank pertaining to what has transpired in what we know as the past, and that is what the intellect relies upon. It relies upon data. It relies upon statistics. It relies upon past research. And that's fine. There's a place and a time for that. But that is not what is going to guide you through life. Now, as we start to work more with the higher connection, as we start to work more with higher consciousness, with our higher self, with our higher levels, with spirit, with God, with Creator, we don't need to make any decisions whatsoever. Spirit simply tells us, just walk this path, and the experience will speak for itself. You see, the Spirit is not sadistic. It is not going to put you through hell. It is not going to punish you. It doesn't do that. Spirit is made out of love. It's made out of compassion. It's made out of joy. It's made out of harmony. That's its nature. But what Spirit will do is it will show you, much to where you feel that you have been guided by the intellect, see the bumps and bruises, and see wounds or lacerations, scars upon yourself, where you felt the intellect itself was trying to guide you. And as a result, you got hurt. And at times, Spirit will try to get you to realize that. It'll take you on a tour relating to some of these mistakes, some of these incidences that have taken place, as a way for you to say, well, here's the situation unfolding again. Are you going to make a new decision this time? Are you going to listen to your heart? Are you going to listen to your higher levels? Are you going to listen to the wholeness of your being? Or are you going to go back into the statistics and the intellect, ego? Are you going to follow that instead? Because now you're going to bump yourself again. You're going to bruise yourself again. You're going to cut yourself again. You're going to hurt yourself again if you listen to the ego, because the ego is not capable of guiding you. It simply does not have that capability. If you want to remember something, sure, the intellect is great for that. The intellect will help to pull something up. You can use that for sure. But when it comes to the idea of guiding ourselves through life, we work with the experience that comes through trusting our heart, trusting our soul, trusting our greater consciousness. Now, what does that feel like? How exactly, Brad, am I going to trust my heart? How exactly am I going to feel what it's like to know that this is coming from my greater consciousness? So that I know that, well, this is my higher self speaking. This is spirit speaking. How do I know that feeling? That feeling is very, very soft. It is very subtle. It is non-demanding. It does not tell you about shoulds or shouldn'ts, or musts or mustn'ts. It does not offer any particular form of heavy control or domination. It's a feeling, and that's the best way to put it. It's a feeling to know that this is right. What I'm about to do feels correct. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of resistance behind it. It feels very free-flowing. In other words, if you want to learn how to naturally connect to your higher levels of consciousness, you have to work to trust the subtle feelings of flow. Well, how do I do that? This is where you want to look into your heart. This is where you want to listen to your feelings. This is where you have to listen to the subtle energies, which means you are going inwards. And to go inwards is commonly used through the techniques in meditation. And through meditation, you are learning to listen to the subtle energies of yourself. So you meditate, you go within, you focus, you concentrate on what the subtle energies feel like, on what it feels like to actually have this lightness, to feel like you're not being bombarded by an assortment of different thoughts, hundreds, thousands, happening so quickly. Not feeling like you are being overwhelmed by heavy states of emotion. We have to calm all of those down. You have to look at it like an ocean. The ocean has these gigantic waves coming in, and they're crashing down upon the shore, and anybody that comes very close to those waves are going to get knocked over. Well, that's the nature of our emotional state. That's the nature of our fragile mind. Our fragile mind is bombarded by all of these thoughts, all of these concerns. Our emotional states are heavy and imbalanced and intense. And with all of this, this is what's causing these heavy waves to crash upon the shore. And if you get in the way of those waves, they're going to knock you over, and you can be severely injured. So we want to work within through love, through compassion, through happiness, through joy, but through true, subtle understanding. We want to follow the breath. It's all we're doing. So, right now, I would like you to try something, okay? So here's what I want you to do first. I want you to put your ego completely aside. I want you to leave it at the door. Secondly, I want you to give me your undivided attention. Thirdly, I would like for you to give your full cooperation to what I am going to share with you. Can you do this? Okay? Ego at the door, undivided attention, full concentration. Are you ready? All right. Let's do an exercise. Get yourself nice and comfortable, making sure your spine is nice and erect, and you're just tightening up every single muscle in your body right now, okay? Start at the face and the head. The head, the face, the neck. Tense up all the muscles there. Let it go. Okay, the shoulders, the arms, the hands, the fingers. Tense all of the muscles up there. And let it go. Okay, your upper chest, upper back, going down to the lower chest, going down the abdomen, going down the lower back. Tense all the muscles up there as best you can. Let it go. Okay, around the area of the waist, the crotch, the legs, the knees, the ankles, the feet, your entire lower body. Okay, tighten it all up. Tighten up the butt cheeks. Tighten it all up. Now let it go. So, during this brief exercise, we just tightened up all the muscles in our body, from the top of the head down to the bottom of the feet, tensed them all up, and let them go. How did you feel when you were tense? If I was to say hold that for 30 seconds, how would you feel? Oh, Brad, I feel like I'd be straining myself. It would be very, very uncomfortable. I don't want to tense up my muscles for that long. I'm just going to start sweating. It's not going to feel good. All right. Now, when I say let go, you let go of all of the muscles within the body. How does that feel? I'm relieved. It feels a lot better. No longer straining, no longer resisting. I'm now set completely free. There you go. Now you've just understood through the tension of what life is like when you lead by the intellect. When you lead by the intellect is always sweating bullets. It doesn't know what to do. It's trying to make calculated guesses. It's trying to calculate. It's trying to strategize. It's trying to analyze everything. But it's not able to figure things out here and now. And so you tense up. Your muscles now start to get all this resistance behind them, all this strain. You start sweating bullets. It's very uncomfortable. And do you know that the majority of the people on the planet live like this daily? And it's a mental muscle straining. It's through many of you tensing up all of the mental muscles within yourself, straining, and straining, until you're sweating bullets and you're putting so much resistance upon yourself, you're almost ready to collapse. But what happens when you let all that go? What happens when you release the tension from the muscles? I feel so much better. I feel relieved. I feel amazing. It's complete and total freedom now. I feel like I can flow now. Congratulations. That feeling of releasing all of the muscles, of releasing all of that tension, is exactly what you're aiming for when you go into meditation. When you go into meditation, you're letting yourself go into the flow. You're letting yourself feel that state of release, which means you're so happy that you're relieved of all of that intense pressure. You're just able to relax, to flow, to feel free. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's what meditation is all about. It's letting yourself be relaxed. You're not concerned about the matters of the day. You're not going through your checklist from A to Z about what you should be doing, or what I need to do next, or what I should be doing tomorrow, or did I take care of this thing? Did I leave the oven on? Oh, did I forget to close the garage door? Any of these surface-based concerns. That's tensing muscles, right? So when you're staying in the mind at the surface level, and you're tensing up all of these muscles regarding what's happening during the day, did I do this? Did I do that? Was I supposed to do this? Was I supposed to do that? That's tensing yourself up. That's causing a lot of resistance, and you're not going to be able to hear the subtlety. So we want to make sure that we are able to hear the subtlety. So this is again where we're going into meditation. This is the second part of the exercise. So again, ego at the door, undivided attention, full cooperation. All right? So in that meditation state again, take a slow, deep breath into the nose. Hold it just for a second. Let it out through the mouth. Hold it just for a second. Inhale. Hold it for a second. Exhale. And that's all you're doing. Repeat, repeat, repeat. All you're doing is with softness and with subtlety, concentrating on the breath as you inhale to the nose. Hold it for just for a second and letting it out through the mouth. Holding it for a second and then repeating. That's all you're doing. Takes no effort whatsoever. All you're doing is breathing. And you're letting yourself be more and more relaxed as you inhale and as you exhale. So each time you do it again, when you inhale, relax more. When you exhale, relax even more. It's like you're just letting the breath let itself out. When you're bringing in the breath, you're letting the breath bringing itself in by itself. And release. And the more that you do this, the more that you're concentrating on the breath, you may find that the average is 4 to 5 seconds as you inhale, and as you exhale, 4 to 5 seconds. And you just have that 1 second pause between the finishing of the inhale and the finishing of the exhale. 1 second pause after each of those. And you're just doing this again. And you're sitting down and you're relaxing and you're just concentrating entirely on the breath. All right, well, I've concentrated on the breath for a few minutes. What else can I do? Oh, you want to have variety, do you? Concentrate on a body part. Okay? Concentrate on having your fingers touching each other and just focusing on that touch sensation as all 5 fingers touch the tips of one another. And I want you just to very, very subtly touch the tips. I want you just to be aware of that sensation as you do a natural rhythm of breathing. And just concentrate on the feeling, the sensation of all 5 fingers touching the tips of each other. Okay? That's another thing you can do. Just something that is very subtle, that is not causing you to waver your attention, not causing you to be distracted. Something very, very simple. So what I am saying is that the more that you are doing this on a daily basis, you're following the breath, you're following simple sensations of the body, and you're just paying attention to that single pointed focus. As you start getting better, you can start working on your visualization. A simple thing. Maybe you're just seeing a circle within your mind, and you're just concentrating on the outline of that circle. Now, that's a bit more of an advanced practice. But all we're doing with the basics right now is concentrating on the breath and concentrating on bodily sensation, on a body part. And that's all we're doing. And now you're getting more and more tuned to the subtle energies. And as you do this throughout the days and the weeks and the months, or even the years that come ahead, you become so naturally in tune with the subtle energies, you trust where they guide you. It's a feeling that comes through. It's a thought that comes through. It's a sensation that I experience. Rather than trying to get the intellect to choose these 12 paths, I instantly know. I just go down path E. Spirit just rotates me, moves me over to path letter E, and I start walking down that path. And everything starts to unfold. Because the intellect will just play eeny, meeny, miny, mo with any of those 12 paths. And that is not the way to go. I'm going to fall down another trap door again. Spirit just says walk down path E and just keep moving. That's all I'm doing. I let experience speak for itself. I'm walking down this path and I'm enjoying it, and I feel the love and the wonderful harmony as I walk down this path. Everything's coming to me. New opportunities, new feelings of career, new friends, maybe a new relationship. All of these things, amazingly, come into my life like a miracle. Well, what did I have to do? I simply focused on the subtle energy. I stopped tensing up the muscles in my mind. I relaxed everything. I surrendered myself. I trusted my feelings. And I let the higher consciousness of myself guide me through a feeling, through a thought, through a sensation, through my intuition. And now I am ripe with the experience of going down this particular path and seeing everything come to me. I trusted the path of experience, hence the reason why it was called Path E. It's the path of experience. With that path of experience, this is where you're going to gain wisdom, rather than the idea of trying to work with analytics and strategy and over-obsessing about should I take this path or should I take that path? What if this happens? What if that happens? It's over-obsessing about the aspect of what ifs, hypothetical nature. And those are traps. Rather than looking into what is, we look at what ifs. That is sabotaging yourself. That is planting landmines before your feet and voluntarily stepping over the landmines, blowing yourself up. So, we want to be very aware of what we give power relating to the ego. If we give the ego so much power, we're going to sabotage ourselves. We're going to hurt ourselves. We're going to injure ourselves. We're going to have chronic conditions. Our body is not going to be able to function properly because the ego has not been trained. It is not efficient for dealing with that. But your own higher levels of consciousness, your own subtle energies that you have trained yourself to detect, once you follow them, they will never, ever steer you wrong. The only reason why things keep repeating again in your life is because you've let the intellect be in charge of them. And they continue to barrage you with conflict. You still get injured again and again and again because you try and let the ego figure this out. It's too stupid. It can't do it. But many people are afraid to change. What they want to do is they want to pick up books and they want to watch videos about how to swim in a swimming pool. But they've never been able to go into a swimming pool themselves. They are so absolutely obsessed with trying to talk to other people and saying, what's it like to be inside a swimming pool? What's it like to go swimming? And those people constantly tell them, why don't you go inside a swimming pool and find out for yourself? Why don't you just go dive in? Oh, no, I can't do that. I have to read all these books first. I have to listen to all these videos. I have to listen to all these experts. I have to listen to these MP3s. I have to watch these YouTube videos. And then maybe I'll dip my toe. Oh, no, I can't. And you, again, constantly resist the opportunity of experience. So, this is where you're looking at that pool. And it's a shallow little pool. It's about 1.5 feet of water. And I'm standing right behind you. But you're asking all these questions. Or, Brad, what's it like if I go into the shallow end? I just push you in. Whoosh! And you go into the pool. Just knees deep, really. And I look at you and I said, was that so bad? No, I didn't really like the way that you pushed me, but it was the way that I needed to realize experience speaks for itself, which means we have an intellectual addiction for assumption. Somebody else has done it, and so they are my gospel, and so I'll just go ahead spouting everything that they've done rather than me. A person has gone ahead and done mountain climbing, and they gave a detailed experience intellectually about what it was like to mountain climb. You're so captivated by it, that becomes your holy grail. That becomes your gospel. You are so obsessed with just repeating and regurgitating what this person has done to bravely climb that mountain when you haven't done a single thing relating to mountain climbing in your entire life, yet you come off as an expert? No, you're not an expert. You're too afraid to mountain climb. All you want to do is assume. It's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of consequences, but really, it's the fear of death that keeps you from wanting to climb that mountain, that keeps you from wanting to dive into that pool, even though it's only knee deep. You find every excuse in the book to cloak your fear of death, because that's the whole idea. When you finally jump into that pool, that version of you that was so terrified to do it is now dead. And now you are alive, having experience of what it's like to be inside a pool of water that's knee deep. You now decide to take your hand and put it upon that first rock. And now you use your feet, and now you start climbing. You let experience allow you to have wisdom relating to this entire situation of mountain climbing. And now that old version of you that was terrified of mountain climbing is now dead. You've become a new person. You see, that's the whole idea of death. Death is just the nature of crossing a boundary. It is the event horizon of transformation. Anytime you cross an event horizon of transformation, you die, which means an old version of you that was very fearful of that event has now done that event, and you've reached a type of ascension. You've reached an ascension of saying, oh my goodness, I've had experience. Mountain climbing, I now have experience. Swimming in a swimming pool, I did it. Because experience speaks for itself. There may be certain things that you don't like. There may be certain pet peeves that you might have. That's okay. Make peace with them. Whether you decide to act on that experience or not is up to you. But if you know that's something you're not going to do, don't dwell on it so much, because that's the intellect. Can you make peace in saying that, well, I know this exists, but I'm not going to try it. It's just not for me. Okay, that's fine. Then there's no need to continue to quarrel about it. Or that is something that's for you. You just haven't been able to get your head wrapped around it to where you know you can actually allow experience to speak for itself. And it can take you to that place and grant you wisdom, grant you the experience, and now you have become a wiser person because of it. And this is all through listening to the subtle energies, listening to the higher self, listening to spirit, listening to your creator levels, listening to God, whichever you wish to term it. Nonetheless, that's what you're doing. You're going into the subtlety. You're listening to those sweet little whispers that become feelings, that become thoughts, that become sensations, and you act upon them. And this is, again, what the Spirit is trying to do, is helping you to alleviate that fear and replace it with love, to replace it with happiness, because that is the apex of understanding subtle energy. When you're in love, when you're in joy, when you're in happiness, that is the natural vibration of yourself working as spirit to live in the world of subtlety. And that is what we're going to explore a lot more in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please remember to check out the playlist that's included in the video description of the YouTube video, and the audio version of this is also included in the video description. I'm Brad Johnson. Thank you again, and I will speak to you again in the next episode. May it be well with you. Thank you very much for checking out my channel. Below you'll see my links to social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also go to healingcodecards.com, pick up your own Healing Code Cards body deck, and of course check out my website at newearthteachings.com. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next video.